Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. What can I say? I'm having a good time. I hope you are. But here's that Evo motor we've been working on. And the goal today is to put the Camchest together. Now, quite honestly, I've already gone through and done all the measurements. We're going to do them again to go through the exercise. But we'll get started here in a second. I wanted to say, if you're enjoying our videos, please subscribe. And please remember to tap the little bell that shows there. If you click on that little bell, then you'll get a little ring that says, dude, Mike's got another video up. Anyway, back into the Camchest on this thing. Now, I've already gone through it, and I'm going to take it apart and do it again. But one of the things I want to do, I don't do until the last minute, is I need to put a new cam seal in the cover here. So I usually do all my measurements without the seal in. I usually do all my measurements with all the parts dry. You get a more accurate measurement that way. But I've already done all those measurements, so I'm going to do them. I'm going to put it together with all its assembly lube and everything on it. And we'll check those measurements again just to make sure we're still in the ballpark. So first, we're going to put in the cam seal. So I'm going to lube it up a little bit. Just put a little bit of assembly lube around the side here where it's going to slide into the cover. And we'll put a little on the rubber seal too. So we'll set it in there. And it's in there. And I have this really precision tool here. This is a 1/2-inch drive extension. And it's an ancient 1-inch socket. And I'm going to set it on that seal. And I'm going to tap this thing real lightly just to get it started nice and straight. And it's starting nice and straight. And we'll just sink it in there. And make sure it's in nice and even all the way around. Now pick it up and look at it. Looks perfect to me. So if everyone else is pleased, it's done. Now, we already did all this on a shovel head motor, and this is basically the same. But for the purpose of showing it again, and again, I like to think that I get better every time I do something. I've done this a whole lot of times. I haven't, however, shown how to do it a whole lot of times, so hopefully every time I show it, it'll get a little bit better. That's the hope anyway. Now I'm going to take the cam back out of here and just set it aside for now. It does have its spacing shim and its thrust plate on it. Now, according to the service manual, the clearance required for the breather gear, I think, is something like 1 to 11 thousandths. Well, I'm going to put some assembly lube on this because I've already measured it all. And even though I'm going to demonstrate it, I'd like to just put it together once and not waste a whole lot of everybody's time. This is not wasting my time. It's actually your time I'm concerned about. So, here we go. I'm going to slide that breather gear in there. That's an original plastic breather gear. Now, they say from 1 to 11 thousandths. Now, if you figure in the crush of the gasket, which is about 5 or 6 thousandths, then that was kind of sloppy. What we're going to do is we're going to set across here with a straight edge. And I'll get my hand out of there. And we'll stick the feeler gauge in there. And what I have is 13 thousandths. Now 13 minus 5 or 6 for the gasket crushing leaves 8 or 9. Or 7 or 8. Anywhere in there. That's just fine. So we'll leave the gasket on there. And now we'll do the cam. Again, we'll put on assembly lube. And we're going to want assembly lube on all the lobes. Any place where metal's going to touch metal, we want lubricant. And so we've got assembly lube on. Anywhere plastic's going to touch metal, I want assembly lube. I want oil of some sort. There, that took care of the breather gear that's plastic. Now in measuring for that breather gear, I picked the proper shim to get that measurement with the straight edge across there. Now, and get this all timed carefully now. Let's see here. We need to get the mark on the pinion gear. Oh, if you watched the last video, we have torqued the pinion nut on here. But there is the mark at the top of the pinion gear. And then we have to find the mark on the breather gear. And there it is. Very hard to see, probably. Excuse me. All right, now, there are both the shim and the thrust plate on the cam. And take this gasket and set it over here. And the timing marks on the cam. A little difficulty seeing to get it today. And there is a timing mark on the cam gear and the timing mark on the pinion gear. Now we'll look real carefully and we'll find the mark on the breather gear, which I'll probably need my flashlight again to see. And there it is. And it's right there. Okay. I hope that shows up well on the camera, but there it is. We have the timing mark here on the gear with the cam gear, and the timing mark with the cam gear on the breather gear. We've set the end play on the breather gear, and the way to check the end play on the cam gear, on the cam shaft itself, is to do it with the cover on. So, like I said, I've already checked all these clearances, and when you check one and it's not the proper clearance, then you have to disassemble it, get out your little measuring device, measure the shim, do the math, go to a larger or smaller shim. So here we are with the gasket in place, and all of our timing is correct. Now, we don't care if it moves once we've got it all correct there. So we're going to put a little assembly lube here and here on the pinion shaft and on the cam, even on the face of this shim here that's going to ride on the end of the breather gear. All right. Some of these gaskets, some of these modern gaskets are really wonderful, but they're really hard to keep their shape till we get them in place. There, that one's there. Okay, so now we can put the cam cover in place just by sliding it on carefully. And it's kind of neat that when you're doing this part, if the motor's on the bench, you can actually look inside, and there it is. So I have all the screws already laid out in order, and although some guys use power tools for this, I'm not much of a power tool guy. What I like is a plain old mechanical speed handle. I come by that honestly. My dad taught me to use speed handles. In fact, this one is one of my dad's old speed handles. I think all of them that I have were old ones of my dad's. Anyway, I just realized my dad's been gone quite a while, but he's going to turn 106 in a couple months. Okay, so here's all the screws, bolts, holding the cam cover in place. And like I said, I went ahead and put all the screws in because I've already checked these clearances. Now, once I get this torqued down, I will again check the cam in play. Now, these bolts, according to the book, are 90 to 120 inch-pounds. And here is 90. Let's do that one first. And that one. And I think it's that one. Better check that one, make sure I got it. Okay, there is a better order of doing that. I believe it's this one. Let's go up to 100 inch-pounds to finish up. It's 90 to 120, we're going to do 110, get it right in the middle. Is that right in the middle? It's close. Okay. So we'll do this one. This one. This one. This one. This one. And this one. Now we'll be able to check the end play of that cam. And the best way to do that is through the rear tappet block hole. And I have a 13 thousandths feeler gauge here. And there it is, exactly at 13. That makes me happy. I'm very pleased with that. 13 thousandths end play is excellent. And we know the breather gear end play is correct. And we have all the timing marks done. The cover is torqued down. We can say we have finished putting the Camchest together. We can even move the rods and watch this little thing turn and be happy. Everything looks just wonderful. So that really does it for now. In our next video, we'll do the next step, whatever that may be. It may be the cylinders, maybe the lifter blocks, I'm not sure. But we'll be doing it real soon. We'll get this motor done, back to Bobby. He can stick it in his bike. Stick it in his bike, and he'll be happy. So until then, see you out on the road.